Hi, I'm Mona. You've seen me around the library. If you've been here for a while, I think I've been here for about 27 years, but you will rarely ever hear me read a children's book because I just don't work in the children's room enough. So this is one of my favorite books that I'm going to share with you. And of course, I have a lot of favorite books, but this is just one of them. And so this title is called Rolli. It's by Koji Takahata. And so it starts out for several, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I've been rather rude. Come and sit down here next to me, because it's best if I can read the book with somebody. So have your seat. The chair's big enough, we can do it. All right, you ready? Okay. For several days, Rolli had been rolling along the ground. He couldn't remember where he came from, and he had no idea where he was supposed to go. He just kept on rolling. After 5 days, Rolli was very dizzy, and he stopped in a meadow to enjoy the bright sunshine and rest for a while. And when he saw a kite, he said, "If I could fly like that, I wouldn't get so dizzy, and maybe I could also see where I'm going. If I could only fly." "Curry, curry," someone called from above. Rolli saw a bird flying above him. "If you want, you can fly with me for a while," said the bird. "I'm traveling south anyway." Soon Rolli was flying. They flew as high as a tree, as high as a house, and then as high as the kite had been. But Rolli could still not tell where he'd come from or where he was supposed to be. He was enjoying the ride when suddenly the bird sneezed and Rolli was falling from the sky. He landed safely, halfway into the soft earth of a meadow. He couldn't roll around anymore. But he didn't mind at all. It was so fun watching the children play in the meadow as they romped through it every day. Well, one morning when Rolli woke up, it was very cold, and although he could hear the voices of children, all he could see was darkness. Kind of like our winters, huh? "I'm so cold," thought Rolli. "If I could be further into the ground, it might make me a little warmer." Suddenly, Rolli was rolling again, straight down, to the left, to the right, to the left again, and further under the ground. He stopped with a bump up against something soft. "Excuse me, you're tickling my nose," somebody said. And when Rolli saw the dark creature with the very big claws right there in front of him, well, he was very frightened. "Don't be afraid," said the mole. "I won't do you any harm. You've just fallen through my roof." The mole pushed Rolli with his nose, rolling him on and on through the tunnel. "Did you dig this whole tunnel by yourself?" asked Rolli. Yes, I did," said the mole rather bashfully. "It's really the only thing I do very well." "Oh, well, don't worry about, I'm sorry, I forgot something." Rolli said, "I can't even roll very well anymore, and that's all I've ever been able to do." "Don't worry about that," said the mole. "Someday you'll learn where you belong, but for now, it'll be very cold up in the meadow, and you're welcome to stay here with me." So Rolli spent the winter safe and warm under the ground with the mole. The mole couldn't see very well, but his nose was very precise. And when the mole told Rolli one day that he could smell the spring sunshine, Rolli believed him gladly. He was ready to get out of those dark tunnels and see the sky again. And the mole gently pushed Rolli up into the spring soil, so that half of him was actually out in the sun and breeze. The sun warmed him every day, and in the evening, the dewdrops bathed him. One morning, Rolli sprouted 2 little leaves, And every day he grew taller. And he looked at his shiny green arms and he said, "Is this what you meant, Mole? Is this what you meant? Am I going to be a tree?" The mole said, "Just be patient and we'll see." Day and night during the mild springtime, the mole stayed close to Rolli. It was summer. And then Rolli finally knew what he was. Oh, all that time as he'd been rolling about, I was waiting to become a flower. "Not just any flower," said the mole, "but the loveliest flower I have ever seen." Oh, wasn't that a beautiful flower? Rolli is just, you're right, one of the prettiest I have ever seen also. I wish I had a flower like that in my yard. Oh dear. Crack! Without warning, one afternoon there was a storm. Lightning flashed out of the darkening sky, and if it had not been for his friend, Rolli would have been very scared. Then came the rain. Great sheets of cold, hard raindrops pushed by fierce winds, and Rolli quickly folded up his leaves, and the mole tried to protect Rolli from the storm. But the wind and the rain just ran through the mole's claws, and Rolli bent his head, and then suddenly his stem snapped. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh dear. When the rain stopped, the mole's tunnel was flooded, and Rolli's flower was hanging there still and sad. Oh, I feel so sad. I'm not sure. I think Rolli's broken. The mole stayed with Rolli for a while, waiting for the sun to come out again. Soon the sky started to clear, and as the mole squinted up and saw a rainbow, he heard Rolli whisper to him, "Thank you, my friend. Thank you for being my friend," said Rolli. And the mole slowly turned away and began work on a new tunnel. For several days, a new Rolli has been rolling along the ground. He could not remember where he came from, and he had no idea where he was supposed to go. But he kept on rolling. Thank you very much for that. I enjoyed reading one of my favorite stories. I like it. Rolli didn't know what he was going to do. Kind of like me, I didn't know what I was going to be when I grow up. I just kept going along and along, and here I am, and I'm happy to be here. And it was nice to know that in a way, Rolli had kids, and those kids are going to keep rolling along, and they're not sure what they're going to be when they finish growing up. But they will. And these people will remember Rolli. So I have another thing I like. I happen to be fond of poetry because my mother read me poetry. As a matter of fact, she read me poetry from this book. There's a lot of good poems in here, but I'm only going to read 2. So this one, when I went and looked, ironically, it was written the very same year I was born, which was 64 years ago. That means 1956. This one is called There Once Was a Puffin. Now, a puffin's a bird that lives by the ocean and swims around. We don't really have them close to us, but they're out there. There once was a puffin just the shape of a muffin, and he lived on an island in the bright blue sea. And he ate little fishes that were most delicious, and he had them for supper, and he had them for tea. But this poor little puffin, he couldn't play nothing, for he hadn't anybody to play with at all. And he sat on his island and he cried for a while, and he felt very lonely and he felt very small. Then along came the fishes, and they said, "If you wishes, you can have us for playmates instead of for tea." So now they play together in all sorts of weather, and the puffin eats pancakes like you and like me. Well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my story and poem. I've had a lot of fun doing this, and I hope to do another one someday.